Hey guys, Civilord here, back in with another action figure review. Today we'll be continuing our looks at the Ben 10 2016 Reboot series figures with a redesign I'm actually quite okay with. And that's of course going to be none other than good old Upgrade, brought to us by the fine folks over at Playmates Toys, who will remain fine folks despite the fact that, this figure on the other hand, not the best articulation, like, at all. I really don't know why he's so hindered, but we'll get into it. So, before I get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Upgrade has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with a very Transformers Prime Soundwave-esque drone. I mean, there you go. Which, I gotta be honest, Transformers Prime is probably one of the main reasons I didn't get into Ben 10 Omniverse, because we had just come off the slightly more mature anyways, Ben 10 Ultimate Alien / Alien Force era of the series, and Omniverse was so campy in comparison. I know it has its moments, but for me, it just wasn't doing anything for me, whereas Transformers Prime, very mature in comparison. Very mature in comparison, but it's a cool little drone, nonetheless. And then we have Upgrade, who I guess is kind of like the Ghost Freak in Ben 10's roster this time around, because there is a glitch Ben that has like the same patterns as Upgrade here. And I guess the purple is supposed to make him look a little more ominous, but I really think he should have been green instead of purple. I think that would have really popped. And I also think his articulation shouldn't have sucked so much. But let's talk about that, because his head turns, and that breaks up the sculpt an awful lot. He's got swivel in the shoulder, but no hinge, which is kind of stupid. Like, it wouldn't have hurt to put a hinge in there. He's got single jointed elbows with a swivel at the hand. He's got a waist twist, for crying out loud. He's got the stupid, Playmates hips that don't really work great. So he can kick back and forth and then rotate, but that's it. He's got nothing in the knees, and of course nothing in the feet. Most of these guys don't have that. But, like, why doesn't he have a hinge in the shoulder, and why has he got nothing in the knees? Does he not move like that in the show? Does he just kind of stand there like a nutcracker at Christmas time? I highly doubt it. I feel like this guy kind of like floats and hovers and swerves around, but that's just me. Not for nothing, why has he got like mascara going on? He's got pink fingers. So weird, but, who am I to judge? I'm not a Cartoon Network exec or a professional character designer. But at the end of the day, despite my gripes with the actual figure, I do like the design. I think he's really cool. This is one of the first Reboot figures I got that was, something a little bit more different, along with Animo, and I want to say Overflow, but don't quote me on that. And the reason I picked him up is because I gravitated towards this design. I thought it was really cool compared to Upgrade of the Past, who was just kind of not brickish, but like just seemed less agile. He had the long neck. I don't know. I just never cared for Upgrade's original design. I liked when in UAF they added more green with a black grid pattern to kind of mirror the green one. And then his Omniverse design, let's not even talk about that. I never care for the Omnitrix symbol being in his eye. That just looks weird. But whatever. So with that being said, it's time now that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here's good old Upgrade alongside a couple other aliens from this Ben 10 2016 Reboot series. We have Wildvine, whose redesign I'm not all that crazy about, as well as not Water Hazard, but Overflow. Don't know why they didn't just call him Water Hazard. Maybe they decided we're going to tick people off enough with the Wildvine and Stinkfly redesigns as it is, so just call him something else. Kind of surprised they didn't at least do that for Stingfly. But at any rate, the scaling in this line, not the most important thing ever. I'm assuming Overflow's probably supposed to be a little bigger. Seems like he should be, but I never watched an episode of this series with that character in it, so, I'm going to hold off prior judgment until I actually do that. And unfortunately, like many a Cartoon Network show, you can't watch this series anywhere. So, thanks, Warner Brothers. Getting these two out of the way, so we can bring in our two regulars. We got the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibilith. Right there. And the infamous 11 Spawn, who, as usual, towers over everyone. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and despite the fact that good old Upgrade here might not be the best figure from this 2016 Ben 10 Reboot series line, I'm going to stand by my previous statement saying I like this design so much I may even prefer it to the original. I don't know, it's just got something going on, and I feel like if they had used green instead of purple for the accents and that translucent torso, he would have really popped on the shelf with some more articulation to boot. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.